Hi everyone, welcome to the 7th World Championship match. And this match is between Frank Marshall and Emanuel Lasker. Now, if you recall in Paris 1900, the last tournament we looked at, Marshall beat Lasker in their individual encounter. Since then, Marshall has also won a major tournament. He played in the tournament Cambridge Springs, I think it was like 1903, and he won the tournament over Lasker. It was the first tournament that Lasker hadn't won in quite a while. Now, I looked at that tournament, and to me, Marshall's games were like, they didn't really touch me for some reason. Um, they were just kind of messy games, so I didn't want to show any of them in particular. But he beat Pillsbury, he drew Lasker, he won every other game, but I think one game. So, I mean, it was an impressive performance from Marshall. So, a lot of people were probably really looking forward to this matchup. In the first game, Lasker has black, and this is the position. And this is probably the most famous game of the match. It's a very well-known encounter. So my question to you guys, what would you do here for black? Pause your video, trying to find the answer. And when you're done, unpause it, and we will talk about it. All right, so Lasker came up with a very good plan here. Now, a typical idea would just be something like maybe bishop check, develop the bishop, attack the pawn, knight to d2, but then white puts the king on d3, develops the rook, maybe brings the knight to b3. And actually, white is doing perfectly fine here. In fact, the key to this position is that this knight on b2 has a beautiful square on b3 that it would really like to get to. Therefore, Lasker played a really nice idea. Rook to b8. Now, this pawn is under attack, so we have to play b3. And the question is, how does this really help black? Well, now he plays another very nice maneuver. First of all, he's taken the b3 square away from the knight, and now he plays the move rook to b5, with the idea of rook to c5. White played c4. If knight to d2, rook c5, knight c4, bishop a6 is pretty annoying. So after rook to b5, I mean, like knight d2, rook c5, rook c1, this is pretty annoying. I can't remember the best way for black to play, but probably something like rook to c3 looks good to me, with the idea of d3. And if knight to b1, I'm trying to figure this out on my own, but probably something like maybe rook e3, and then maybe, man, I can't remember it. You know, I worked this out before, but it is not really relevant. The point is, black still has some initiative if white defends this way. I mean, obviously the rook's passive, the knight, all of white's pieces are pretty passive. White didn't want to go for that, instead played c4. After rook h5, another tempo-gaining move. King to g1, c5. Now he has a protected passed pawn on d4. Knight to d2, king f7. And this is a crucial move. Because if we don't go king f7, what move is white going to play next move? Rook to f1. Cutting off our king. So it's very important to play king f7 here. Now, rook f1, king e7, a3, rook h6. His idea is to maneuver his rook to the king side, the queen side, sorry. And he's just making all kinds of weaknesses, and now he comes in with the king. The king is coming to e5, and things are going to be very ugly for white. Stopping knight f3 type moves, and now the king is coming in once again. So it's amazing how quickly, from a relatively even-looking position, black achieved a winning game, and now he's up a pawn and winning. But let's just see how this all went down, because The position looks relatively balanced. I mean, black has 2 doubled pawns as well. So how does black win this so quickly? And it's because of this maneuver. Rook b8 to b5 to c5. And yes, white's defense wasn't perfect, but this was still like a pretty nice maneuver. I mean, he didn't play the simple developing moves. And already now he's doing well because he's going to maneuver around with his rook, make some weaknesses, walk his king up, push his pawn, walk his king to d4, and it's very hard to stop this type of strategy. So the key, first, you need to figure out what your opponent wants to do. So if you just make routine developing moves like bishop e6, well, after knight to d2, white is completely fine because the knight's just coming to b3. Black has no play at all. Bishop check also developing with tempo, but not the best move. It's not the, you see now if you play this b5, rook to b5 idea, maybe I just go king to d3. And this bishop on h3 is actually not the best placed piece. Also maybe just knight d2. And we can go knight c4 now because there's no more bishop to a6, although bishop e6 is annoying. So perhaps here we just play king to d3, attacking the d pawn. And I don't know, this is an interesting position. But after king to d3, white should be fine here. So the key is to not make that routine developing move, bishop takes h3, and to realize this is a critical moment. This is a key moment in the game. If you want any chance to really win this position, now is the moment to think, now is the moment to do something. And the best players, they have a good feeling for when those key moments have arrived. Thanks everyone for watching. Lasker wins the first game of the match and takes a 1-0 lead. Bye-bye.